Hello everyone, and welcome to Jurassic Park. Sorry, Pyanodon's Season 3. If you guys have seen the one with the little, like, kazoo sound, anyway. You know what I'm talking about, or you don't. So in this episode, we're gonna hit 300 hours, which is pretty cool. Like I said, November 13th, which is probably slightly less than a week from when you're seeing this episode, we will be doing the stream, the celebration stream, where we're gonna rework rail blueprints. We're gonna go through the whole pile. We're gonna rework these ones to have the new Nextlet power poles. We're gonna rework all of these to have 6 loaders each, and also potentially design a new one for a fluid requester station that requests more fluids. I might not do one with more providers because we already have this, which provides up to 6 fluids, which is pretty chill. And we've already figured out how to make it so that it doesn't provide them to the trash network if we don't want to. So this one is pretty good. The only downside is that the priority... Oh no, I can make the priority for channel 1 0 and the priority for channel 2 10 as well. So we can do both. The only thing you can't do is provide one fluid at a priority of 0 and another fluid at a priority of 10, both on channel 1. Anyway, we need to redesign a few things here. And so we'll do that with the new power poles and such. And that'll be nice. This all seems to be functioning properly, which is beautiful. How are we doing on HCl here? Oh, look at that. Gorgeous. Lots of HCl. Okay. So... I feel like... Did we do all the steps we needed to do here? We did. Huh, these are eating all the CO2 for now. But once it's backed up, I think it'll not run again for a long time. And sodium carbonate's already done, the chlorate's already done. Here it looks like we're short on bisulfate. That's just because we don't have enough salt. Oh, we're missing a belt here. That's why. That's why we got the problem. Okay, so in this episode, I think we're going to work on Fiberboard. I don't know where. I'm just going to preemptively put stations in 3 places here, so we've got some areas ready to build. And I'm gonna get some more power going. Someone was asking me a question about the tidal power. What was it? Oh, they were asking about construction zone extenders. Those exist. I just haven't built them yet. And they have a construction area of... It looks like it's bigger. Yeah, it's bigger by a good margin. And they also connect further. So I probably should have been using these, to be honest. It could be worth adding them in. The problem is... I don't know. Maybe it's not a problem. Because the only difference is that bots... Well, what's the charging difference? That's my main question. So charging wise, it's not clear. Oh, it's not clear from either of them, is it? Oh, my music's not. There we go. Let's see. Control Shift F. So where do we find this? So this is the recipe prototype. We want products, result, and then place result. And somewhere in here it's probably going to tell me how many charging ports it has. Roboport prototype. Recharge. Robot slots 4. Energy usage. Input flow limit. What's 83 times 60? So that's a 500. So what do these say about... Oh, maybe that's the 50 kilowatts? There's 8333. That's just regular joules. So that works out to... No, that works out to 5 megawatts. Something... not right. Let's keep digging in here. So... in here, down to the bottom. 4 robot slots. Logistic parameters. Oh, interesting. Wouldn't have thought I'd found that here. Charging energy 5833. I think is how fast they charge. Four charging stations, charging offsets, charge approach distance. Interesting. What was it? 5833. 350 kilowatts a piece. Yeah, that adds up. Because 4 times 350 is about 1.5 megawatts. So then what we need to do is look at the logistic zone expander. Construction zone extender. Sorry, that's what it's called. And then we need to Control Shift F. And then do the same thing. Click, click, scroll to the bottom, find the logistic parameters, and we find out that charging energy is 33,333, and it's only got 1 charging station. So these are far worse at charging robots, if I'm reading this correctly. Far worse. 33,000. Oh. Wait, what? $350 kilowatts. This can charge up to 2 megawatts. Am I reading that right? Never mind. It charges way faster. It does only charge 1 at a time, though. Yeah, 2.7 megawatts. Okay, so maybe it's not terrible. What it really depends on is, like, if a bunch of bots are waiting, how far do they have to fly to charge? Because if there's a bunch waiting and they've lost their charge, if they're far away, then they have to fly at their minimum speed towards the middle or towards the charging point, because they don't float at the charging point, if you know what I mean. So, like, there's a really weird phenomenon, you know, when it comes to bots, and it's hard to know for sure how things are going to work out. So I'm actually curious. So we're going to run a little test here. We're going to run a little test. I could just do this. Okay. So here's this. I think this is far enough to use up a bot's power charge. And then we're gonna do roboports up here. And then we're gonna like watch how fast they actually charge. I'm very interested in the results of this. No. Okay, we are gonna need, at the very ends, we're gonna need a regular roboport here and here. Okay, so then we'll have our starting line and our finish line. I hope this is far enough to require a robot to charge. And then I'm gonna need super substations. Do these really not have enough wire reach to... They really don't. That's funny. To go full distance here. That's fine. I just need power. It doesn't need to look pretty. Alright, and then we need one super accumulator. Done. Okay, so everything's powered up. These are separated networks. Now I'm gonna take one bot in here. No, not a construction. A logistic. Does it matter? I don't think so. Energy capacity 1.5. Yeah, they're the same in every way. All right. Okay, technically these are in different spots. There we go. Okay, now they're the same. And we'll put the provider chest right next to the building with chain signals in it. And then the finish line has a requester chest. I guess we technically need to measure. No, yeah, we should. We need to have a sideways one to measure. This is maybe too much work, but I'm curious what the charging differences look like. So that goes directly here. Okay, and then we'll put a requester chest right there. And right there. Sneeze, as usual. All right, and then what we're gonna do is we're going to have a constant combinator that's turned off, set to chain signal. 10. And then we're gonna wire up these bad boys. And they're on set requests. Set requests. So I think all we got to do is turn it on. Flop. And they're off. Nope. They're not. They're not off. Oh, is time paused? Sure is. There we go. Okay, so the race is afoot. Nothing interesting is going to happen for a little while here. Of course, as they just fly on their merry little journey. Yeah, the main question is... I just want to know... Well, I guess we would need a swarm of bots. Maybe I need a... Hold on. I need to rethink this a little bit. Because I want to know, like, if there's a swarm of bots who charges faster, not just... Yeah. How do I get more chain signals? I just click on it, right? Yeah. Okay, let's do a much larger request. And a lot more bots. All right, let's put in 200 bots. Nope, nope, nope. Dang it. Gotta turn this thing off. I guess I could also just pause the game. All right, turn that off. No, no. Stop it. Stop it. Okay. Let's try again. It's interesting control... Oh, shift click. Wasn't I control clicking on this rail signals though? I don't remember. No, that's control clicking. Okay, there's 200 in each. There's plenty of signals, and now we need to boost up the request to be much larger, like, say, 200? How many bots would that bring me? About 66? Yeah, that feels about right. Okay, so now we've got a test on our hands. So now there's a large squad of bots, about 67 bots, all on the move. And I'm just curious, when they all need to charge, how are they going to stack up around these things? There's also the obvious downside that they're further away from the construction zone extender, which means they have to fly further on low power and more out of their way. That's not going to be super accounted for because these are kind of in line, but if they were like cattywampus, you know, they'd have to go sideways a lot. Okay, here we go. Here's the charging. So 3, 4, they do line up pretty far away, but here 4 of them charge at once. These ones died on their way to charging to one that was too far away because they didn't want to line up all next to this one. And these guys are going all the way back here. Yeah, construction zone extenders are probably not the best idea for tier 1 robots, is already what I'm thinking, because they're just too far apart. Now, obviously, you can place them more frequently. That works fine too. Yeah, these guys are all already done. And these are still going one at a time. That pile finally finished, and now these piles are just getting started, and because of how far away they're waiting, this is something I would recommend is change. Look at that offset. That offset is way too big. Why is that offset so big? Since there's only one charging spot, they should be waiting like right next to it, and that would help a lot with large amounts of bots charging. But yeah, I mean, the RoboPort ones are clearly going to win the race. So I guess the next slightly more fair competition, which I know you guys, look, this is the kind of stuff YouTube loves. I know this because I watch this kind of thing on YouTube. Like those videos where it's like, Red Alert 2, who would win? 10,000 conscripts or 100 snipers? You know, and like, I love that stuff. Or the, I don't know if you've ever seen like that, is it Algo Dude? No, was it Mikan? It's like the Marble Wars where he makes these like fancy, crazy marble contraptions and they like shoot like, It's hard to describe, but it's like two sides that have the same rules and they fight, and you don't know which one's going to win. But anyway, yeah, clearly the RoboPort ones are the winners here. But if the construction zones are equally spaced in all the same spots as the RoboPort, will they do better or worse? Is my new question. I think they'll still do worse, to be honest. But yeah, the spacing clearly did a number on these guys. So let's try turn that off. I guess I'll leave those the way they are. We'll delete all these and fix the spacing. So we need it to be right here. And right here. Okay, so that's our spacing, right? Yep. Yep. All right, so that's our spacing. Okay, perfect. So now that's there, and then we want to take all these out. Fortunately, there's no easy way to get rid of these guys other than manually clicking on them. Okay, so the new question is, what happens if you space out the... No more, right? I think that's all of them. Yeah, what happens if you space out the construction zone extenders the same spacing as the RoboPorts? Who ends up winning? And we are about to find out when we turn on... And I can speed up the game too. We should. We're gonna go to X2 here. All right, turn this on. And they're off. Let the bots race. All right, I think this is gonna be closer. I think RoboPorts are still gonna win. I think it has a lot to do with the offset of the construction zone extenders. I think the offset should be closer to 0 for the construction zones because of the fact that they've only got one bot charging. I mean, it's even a bigger offset than the 4-slot RoboPorts, which really hurts bots when they're at minimum speed. I'm not really sure who's winning, though, at this point. This one feels a lot closer, but, I mean, there's more in the front here, but there's also more in the back here. Whereas the RoboPort ones have a lot more consistency. You can see the... Well... I don't know. This is very interesting. The front runner is always going to win in this case because he's going to get faster charging by himself, as you can see. But looking at the map, they look pretty similar actually. Like the bulk is in the middle here, and the bulk is in the middle here. You get more spread out. All right, I'm going to slow down. Normal speed here. So here's the bulk of that. We're at 75 and 63, and then after this wave comes in, we're at like 90. We're at 100 here, still slightly ahead. 111, 6, 9. Okay, at this point they're about tied-ish. 47, 150, yeah. And then the stragglers, definitely, well, nope, there's a Roboport straggler that's all the way back here. That's not that much further. Okay, so the construction zone extenders are pretty competitive when we're dealing with the same spacing. Interesting. If the offset was smaller, they'd do even better, but it is going to lose in terms of an absolute race for everyone to finish. But it was winning for a good amount in the middle there. Very interesting. So yeah, I think the problem is that offset. The offset here is way too big, and they should reduce that. Maybe I'll make a note. But yeah, the charging offset is -0.5. I don't know what that means. I assume that's the number that matters here. No. Sorry. That's not the number that matters. I saw it. It's the approach distance. The approach distance is way too big. They need to reduce the approach distance here. It's currently 5. They should change that down to like 1 or 2. And that would help a lot. And this one I think was only at 3, right? Where's the button? Yeah, that one's only a 3. So that's a big difference. Because when the bots are on 0 power, you know, they have to take turns, and that delay for them to travel that approach distance on no power is quite large. Quite large. Anyway, look at this. Look at the last, like, few hours. Tidal has been rocking it. We're finally there where like tidal power is spending a lot of time providing for our base by itself. I love that. I absolutely love that. Okay, let's work on Fiberboard. So Fiberboard is super chill. It's just steam, hydroxide, treated wood, and fiber. And we get out some black liquor and tall oil. Am I going to keep the black liquor this time? Is the question. I mean, we should probably keep the acetone. It's not very much acetone, but it's free acetone. Every 160 black liquor will sub in for 50 cumene, though we are spending oxygen to do it. Is this worth it? I don't know if it's even worth it. It feels maybe not worth it. So much added complexity, because then we have to request oxygen. We're providing 2 more fluids that we wouldn't have provided otherwise. Is it even worth it? I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure if this is worth it, because we're going to request the fiber hydroxide. Okay, so that's all going to go here. And we're going to request fiber. Where's the actual raw fiber? 26 stacks. Is that no, that's not enough. 3 stacks a minute. I need 35 just for 5 minutes. I prefer more like 8 minutes. Okay. Gotta turn my little dish heater down. Get some coffee here. So that's 10 black liquor, which, yeah, let's look at if this was running full speed, which it's not going to be. I should say our fiberboard usage is not going to be that high. It's been for a minute, and even once this is running, it's not going to be that much higher. Where's the fiberboard amount? 0.2. Yeah, it's not going to be very high. So yeah, I'm just going to dump the black liquor. You know what? We're going to get a much more massive way to make acetone We already have aromatics for free from a million different places. We don't need this black liquor. Because this would only produce, you know, 100 black liquor is only going to produce about 60 acetone. That 60 acetone can be made so easily from the cumene once we have that research done, which again is just the strip distillates. So like 100 strip distillates make 200 cumene, make 400 acetone. 100 strip distillates makes 400 acetone. And over here, we would only be getting, and we could do like 100 strip distillates a second. So 400 acetone a second. Imagine how much fiberboard we would need to even get 1% of that. To even get 4 acetone a second. Like this right here basically is 4 acetone a second. So and we're not going to be making anywhere near this amount. So all that to say, I just don't think it's worth it. Not even close. No contest. All right, F requester. No, we want FR fungible, I think, for cold steam. Let me double check on that. Is this cold steam? Yeah, this is cold steam. I do want to keep the tall oil, and I forget, can we do a normal F requester and make it fungible pretty easily? I think we can. Yeah, we can. Yeah, we just request water here. And then I need a translator. You know what would be cool? You know, some games have like a radial wheel, or you can scroll to pick the different types. If you had a combinator, if you like shift scroll, it would pick the different combinator types. Like it would scroll through arithmetic, constant, selector, and decider. That would be kind of cool. All right, so this is translated into steam amount gets multiplied by 1 and becomes the water amount that this thinks we have. That thinks it's water, but it's really not, and this is steam. Okay, fungibility complete. And then we need to request treated wood. Let's call it 30. Hydroxide, 30. 104 stacks, perfect. Worth noting, I should move that lamp when we redo the train stations as well. All right. This is gonna be the chillest build of all time. Do we even need 3 fluids total? No, you can't just connect them like this. Gosh, I might as well make 6. This is such a small build, there's no reason not to. Yeah, and then there's always the question of, do I go left to right? Or we've talked about this before, like, or do I go with the flow of traffic? But I think I usually do left to right regardless. That's far enough away that I don't think I have to worry about connections there. And then we do want a... I think I'm gonna do the major trasher here. Or no, I'm just gonna do a fluid fuel provide. I guess what we really need is to have a module on the super trasher that we can easily put in that allows for one or more of the super trasher modules to be fluid fuel. Pressurized air. Just type air. Is that easier? There's a lot of air types as well. Yeah, this one's pretty simple. We're just gonna throw some more storage in here. Since it's free. Okay, so there's that one. We do need an overflow. Let's see, but a pump. Overflow into a sinkhole. Gotta power all this crap up. Two belts going past. Rates 1.6. Yeah, I think that'll be fine once the hand size gets upgraded. So that all is good. Click, 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 click. Make sure we got full power there. And then we're just waiting for hydroxide here. Pretty easy build. I do like an easy build. Alright, and then the steam. Down here. Plugs in there. And then finally, black liquor doesn't even have a fuel value. I wish it had one more usage. Because this usage is such low volumes for things that are cheap to make other ways. It just doesn't ever make sense. It'd be cool if there was a little bit of a complex chain, but it turned into a good amount of something useful, like wax, or, you know, like fluids that are harder to get large amounts of. Because acetone and aromatics are both fluids that are easy to get large amounts of with chemical processes. So it'd be cool if it somehow turned into something that was only makeable through a flora or fauna process. And that way it felt a bit more special. And like worth, you know, actually following the black liquor chain. But in this case, I just don't think it is. Okay, so there's our fiberboard, except for the, you know, the ever important part where we actually have an output. Completely spaced that. So we need to open up a space here. Of course, they're not going to be powered, which is doubly annoying. But there's our fiberboard out. And goes in there. Just going to let that bad boy fill up. Okay. Don't think we need to do anything. Done. Let's move on to etching solution. Do we want to do that here since I'm already here and we've got the space? I mean, there's no overlaps, but that's fine. This is just a bunch of fluids and some lard. The lard is the annoying part. Decay of lard means we're gonna need a few things, and there's a bunch of ingredients. No byproducts though, except for biocrud. I feel like this area is gonna end up being a lot of random things, so let's put a super trasher here. This is where the biocrud will go. And then we'll do another fluid requester. What are we at? 40 minutes already? Oh my gosh. How does this happen? We're at 300 hours! Woo! Woo! Congratulations! And we're gonna need sulfuric acid. We're gonna need peroxide. And we're gonna need, I forgot what the other one was. Phosphoric acid. All right, let's say 45 grand. No. Yeah, 45 for that and 45 for sulfuric. Which gives me a 20k buffer, which means we should have a 10k buffer here. I know that that's peroxide and that's expensive, but we'll live. And then that is phosphoric. Done deal. And then we need multiple chemical plants. Is that 390 a minute? How much is that an hour? 39,000, kind of about 20,000 an hour. Yikes. That's only with half a building running though. We can build more than that quite easily. So leave a large space for fiberboard growth potential. Are we, what's going on here? That stuff not built. No idea. That's already, what, 5 times bigger than we have it? So let's make it even bigger than that and call it a day. We'll make 3 of these. Also, note to self. Note to freaking self. I need to stop. Okay. This is already built, which is a bummer. But I need to start, instead of building these vertically, because then that causes me to build buildings horizontally, which I don't like, because then they cover up the belts and stuff. We need to be building these on the side, and then our buildings get to be built in vertical rows, like this. This is what I prefer, rather than the horizontal, because then the buildings cover up the view. So I gotta be better about that. And then this just needs lard. So the lard is going to be an interesting... We're going to have to control that via train, because what I don't want is... Okay, phosphoric is the top one, which is... Wait, what? Which is this one. Okay. Then we've got sulfuric is this one, which I think goes there. Yeah. And then peroxide. I forgot another roboport up here. And then power. Anyway, what was I saying? What was I saying? I was talking about building vertically. I don't remember what else I was saying. Anyway, the etching solution will get provided. I just presume I'm gonna need one of these stations at some point at this area. So let's just throw this here. And then number 1 will get to be our etching solution. Ooh, perfect distance too. Look at that. And then we're gonna throw a roboport kind of out in that direction too. Okay, and then we need to manage the lard request. So that's still got 40 stacks, so we'll request the lard here. But we need to make sure we only request the lard if we need etching solution. So we need to measure this area. put it on the left side here so it's more visible. And this says if etching solution... Let's see, what's the lard to etching ratio? 26 to 390, so it's 15 etching solution per lard. So that means if etching solution is less than 30K, we request, we'll probably do a half train load of lard at a time. 1,000 lard will end up giving us 15,000 etching solution. So that's about right. So we'll do the lard symbol. And then I need to carry that signal on a big power pole down to about here. Disconnect those. And then this one says... Oh no, we can just do the amount. Negative 1,000. So we'll do the lard request amount, and that gets added into this combinator. Oh, but we're gonna have to add a station control for lard to be 10 stacks only for the threshold. Okay, and then this will be lard on that side of the belt, and that'll just get split off there. Okay, and then in the ideal world, we'll use up all 1,000 lard, but it's very possible we don't. And this also won't use the most spoiled first, so we could run into issues here where it spoils in the chest, even though this is unloading. I do wish loaders could support spoiled first. It's fine that they don't. I assume there's a good reason for it. I assume if it was easy to add, they already would. Okay. That should do it there, and then here we need biocrud to be fetched. And brought back to the trasher, and then this needs to have a biocrud extraction method. Alright, so here's the biocrud, and that gets brought up to the trasher there. That'll get rid of biocrud. I think that should do it. Getting rid of biocrud from here. This gets rid of lard from here, and then if it turns on to biocrud on this belt... Oh, hold on. We need to actually switch this. This needs to go hydroxide left. There we go. So if it turns into biocrud on this little spot, it'll still go right. And then... yeah, it'll pass by the buildings if it's biocrud, and it'll eventually get to this square and get unloaded. So that should do it. Etching solutions hooked up to channel 1 there, and it'll just fill up that tank as much as it can. Wait. No, it's this one. Yeah, and it'll fill that tank up as much as it can, and it'll stop requesting lard once that tank's got 30K in it. So, at that point, it's possible we already have 1,000. Or, what would cause the most possible etching solution? So it's possible that a train is on the way right before this turns off. And then we're only going to have about 1,200 to 1,300 lard total to work with, which will only get us to about 50K etching solution. So that's perfect. We have room for all that. So as long as the other fluids are supplied, we're not going to run out, or we're not going to have lard spoil. The problem is the other ones might not always be supplied because hydrogen peroxide is one of them. So it's possible that we request lard when we don't have hydrogen peroxide. So I guess we could also have a condition here. Should I measure the levels of these and only request lard if we have some? I think that's reasonable. We should only request lard if we have at least 10,000 of each, right? I guess we only need 5,000 peroxide. Okay. Yeah, that's reasonable. The problem is I have to measure it on red to stay off the mixing greens channel. Yeah, I actually think this is reasonable. So that at least guarantees there's enough in the tanks to handle 1,000 lard. It does, I think count-wise it's possible, depending on how trains are scheduled and stuff, we end up, you know, having a little bit of biocode spoilage. But that way we're not just... The main reason here is I want to make sure that if we're out of hydrogen peroxide completely, we don't just continually request sets of lard that spoil. Because that's just wasteful. There's no reason to do that. Apparently I connected to power poles that weren't connected. Got it. And that's not connected. And we don't have... Oh, I didn't extendify one of these inserters. There's the fiberboard. Easy peasy. All right, well, with that, I believe, and we already made Bakelite. Where did we make Bakelite? Here. How much Bakelite do I need? I don't know. Call it 3,000. So no, it's cheap. I'll just let it go to like 4,000. That way there's 2 train loads. If 2 different things need Bakelite at the same time, they don't have to fight over it. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to look at, which was the bitumen seep. Finally got unlocked here. And we were going to turn that into fuel. So tar, what is the best way to turn tar into fuel? That's the real question. Is it this one? So we get light oil, tall oil. That's roughly 1 megajoule per tar. I guess it's a little bit less because it averages 950 and it's only 100 out of 120, which is 5/6. So whatever, what the heck is 5 out of 6 times 950? It's it's about 800 kilojoules per tar, and it's quite simple to do. So that's my primary thing I'm thinking, but what are our other options? Our other options are that, which we're not going to do. We could do the whole pitch cracking thing and make a billion coke. We could... I guess there's not that many options. There's that one, that's not going to do anything. I doubt tar barrels are much. So our main other way to turn tar... You know, I should have made this crude oil. Why did I not make this crude oil? That was really, in retrospect, really stupid. So the other idea would be tailings. So if we do tailings, and then we do tailings It's 5 to 3 cold water slurry, and then that's 4 to 1 benzene. That's definitely worse. 5 to 3 to 4 to 1. It's 20 to 12 to 3. That's 20 to 3 benzene. Yeah, that's way worse. Okay. So yeah, then we just need to process the tar in DDCs. What was the rate? 5 seconds to process 120. This thing makes 150, so we need 5 DDCs, 6 DDCs. And then we'll provide, we need FP fungible, no. Yeah. Can I just make both of them fungible? Yeah, we can add fungibility to both, right? No, this one's weird because it uses the filter on the request, so we would have to... Ooh. This would be even harder, because if we have 2 different fluid fuels, the train would come and it would be asking for pressurized air in both cases. And how do we know which one of the 2 fuels is the one to turn on that actually has more than 25,000 ready to go? That actually gets doubly complicated. If we had 2 different FP fungibles in the same provider, that would actually be easy enough to do. But having 2 FP fungibles where the mask fluid is the same in the same provider is actually very difficult. So we'll separately provide this tall oil as pressurized air. I'm starting to feel like we've made a mistake here. And that mistake... What was the other thing it provided? Just tall oil and what? Light oil. I think the mistake is that we aren't... Sorry, I'm not being clear. We're just putting this straight to fuel. We should be prioritizing it going to the network first as what it actually is, which is light oil or tall oil. Because, like, we need light oil and tall oil in various places in the base. Not just for fuel. I guess tall oil is not really needed in many places except this. So tall oil is pretty much just fuel. But light oil is used in a lot of places. Oh, we can also make tall oil directly from naphtha, which we do make. So that, maybe we just say that anywhere we ever... The only place we're ever going to use tall oil is probably going to be outlet gas. And wherever we do outlet gas stage 4, we can just request naphtha instead. No, tall oil barrels are used for filled combs. I might do a lot of that at some point. Anyway, I'm just trying to decide, because we also have aromatics here, so we probably should have, and then this will kind of be wrap up. So I think what we need to do here... I really wish I could hit H to horizontally flip it, but it would break way too much. So we're gonna do tall oil, or light oil, and aromatics. Wait, was it aromatics? I think it was. Where's the best place? I guess I can build one here. be good. And then we need to build one like here. That'll at least get full coverage-ish there. And then why don't we put one there? Yeah, that should get most of it put together. Okay, and then these are breaking down tar. Probably that one, yeah. Okay, is there a way to do this? So we've got 4 total fluids. Unfortunately, it puts the tall oil across and the light oil across, which means there's no way to smash these up against each other. I am gonna do it though like this, so that we're all linked up here. Okay, so that gets everything but the light oil. Just have connected across the front. Make sure to have the proper one on the end. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. I want you in my room. Beep, 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 beep. All right. You're welcome. Now that's stuck in your head. Okay, there's that. Power, power, power. All right, and then, so channel 1 we said was, which one? It was light oil. That's this one. It's not a 2-directional. So if we want to do weak side super trasher, we got to manually hook it up. Okay, and then this one, number 2, was the aromatics. And then this one was the tall oil. Okay, so that's easy enough. So then the tall oil is here. Well, we're gonna have to turn the corner here probably. Okay. That'll be nice and clean. So which one was which? The tall oil was the top one. This one becomes the bottom one. That's tall oil. The middle one is the light oil. This is the light oil, and this is the aromatics. Okay. And then as far as pumps go, oh, right. The light oil we're prioritizing. Okay, hold on. So the light oil, we want to priority go there, then it overflows into here. This is not gonna work. I guess this is fine. Overflows like that. So first we pump it to provide to the network. Then if the network's not using it, and I'll just say if the network's not using it on channel 1, which means I'm gonna throw in a negative light oil signal to there to show this isn't providing light oil on channel 2, only channel 1. So if we need light oil for like primary usage, this will be a provider of it. However, not at priority 10, just priority 5. Then from there it will overflow into here where it will get used up, and then this one will have at priority 12, so that always gets used up first, the tall oil. So I'm not going to do an overflow at all for tall oil. And then at 90%, we will just overflow the light oil. So that way we're not backed up on light oil. Did I do that right? We want it to get backed up eventually on tall oil. So we need the light oil to not get in the way. Yeah. It's a little weird, but I think this is how we want it. Okay. And then finally, we want the aromatics to just have a overflow pump situation. Overflow into a sinkhole. Always get pumped into there. I think that does it. So this will prioritize light oil into there. Once that's full, then it will prioritize light oil into FP fungible at a slightly lower priority than the tall oil, which will always be getting used up first. Wait, but if we're ditching... If we're... no, I think this is backwards. Yeah, no, we're going to be constantly dumping light oil this way. The light oil should be at 12, and this is at 10. So we use up that light oil ASAP. Then I'll put this at 9. So this whole system will stop until we've gone through all of our other fuel reserves. And then if we happen to need more, it'll go to number 9 instead. I don't know. We've got a lot of various priorities around the base. It'd be cool if I could look at all the priorities of this particular type of station somehow together. But anyway, if this gets used up, then it'll produce more. But the important part is that it uses up the light oil first before it uses up the tall oil. And that way we shouldn't end up wasting any light oil. But if we are blocked up on light oil, we will void it to make sure the tall oil gets filled up as well. And that's the lower priority. So I think that's the way we want it. Yeah, I think that's all correct. Cool. Okay, well that should provide a good amount of fuel to our glassworks. If we look at molten glass, feels like we've been okay. I'm guessing there were some issues, but petri dishes. Yeah, we definitely had some low points, but I don't know if that's because we were out of fluid fuel or because of what? Or are we just not making enough petri dishes? I guess that's possible too. Ooh, we got some traffic. It's actually scary. Having better acceleration will help once we have the faster trains. So that'll be a good thing. Plus having better braking force, which I think we get in chemical science. Yeah, we get 2 braking force researches, which also will reduce traffic. So those 2 things will help a lot. I know I said I needed to be done with the episode, but do I really? Like, I'm having so much fun. How could I be done with the episode? I haven't looked at all these ores in a while. Flora is going to be an issue, I think. I think the ores are doing okay. No? Iron's starting to look a little scraggly here. And copper. Let's just get the whole thing covered here. That's done. We still have 5 million. What's the rate that we've been going through copper ore? 800 a minute. So we've got another 100 hours at our current rate. And I'm guessing the current rate will actually stay pretty steady because as we need more and more, we end up upgrading the recipe from time to time. So I'm guessing it'll be pretty consistent. If there's other ore area, like here's our niobium, that seems to be fine. Titanium seems to be fine. Lead is not fine. Especially as we start to need stuff like silver. That's going to be a problem. Okay, there's that. Power's connected. It's all within building range. Okay. That should fix that. I'm gonna remove the ones we don't need here, but then that means we need to put in a connection. I also don't want this random patch here, so I am going to actually prioritize that lead to get used first. Guess we can just do that. Okay, so that's lead. 10. Seeming okay here. This raw coal, what is this even getting used for? I have no idea. Just to be sure, I'll extend that a little bit. Do I even have construction near here? I do. If I put that there, that'll make sure it's good. Any other patches of ore that I haven't looked at in a while? I don't think so. Well, I guess there's the oil sand, but that should be fine. And then there's what? There was one other one that we mined. Phosphate. No, that's not. Phosphate comes from the rocks. Where did I build that? Was that over here? No, that's rare earth. Oh, I guess there's that quartz patch, yeah. There's that quartz patch. Did I just say that? I really did, didn't I? This phosphate rock is currently the source of all of my phosphoric acid. Probably not enough. I'm probably going to need to tap into another phosphate rock at some point. Then again, that might not be true. We just requested a lot of phosphoric acid for etching solution, so probably all that is. Hey, we've actually completed our first... Oh. I see the problem, don't worry. I will fix the problem. The recipe amount is not 1 each, so there's spoilage in the buildings too, which I've now taken care of. But anyway, we've got our etching solution, and I think with that we'll call it an episode. We got fiberboard done, etching solution done, more fuel for the base done. We raced bots with construction zone extenders versus roboports just to see who would win, which was fun. We've done a lot of good work in this episode, and we will call it there. So as always, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see y'all in the next one.